couple reasons nobody hops trains in New England. One of the main reasons is that because the Northeast is so industrial, trains are not going very far until they get to some sort of other industry. So you could have a train that you go on for 20, 30, 40 miles, and then it just terminates. And the function of a lot of these trains are just to go here and back from a lot of low priority industrial spots. It's not like they're shipping out Amazon containers or mail here. So you could be waiting around all day, for several days even, and let's say you miss a train and you could have just taken a bus or a commuter rail to the next city, which would have only been maybe 40 miles away. And then you've got to consider, is it really worth it to just camp out in the bush for however long I've been? You can see this used to be a much bigger yard based on these track ties that are still around here by this trail. It is very pretty, it is cool to explore, but right now I'm just killing time. I've got the dead yard blues, really not much going on in this yard. I've got a lot of time to kill, so I'm just gonna explore the area really. I have a couple of goals for this trip. One of my goals is to stay clean, and I intend to take river baths or use baby wipes or shave and just generally try to look as presentable as possible when I'm out. Another one of my goals is to stay as healthy as possible because I'm getting older and things are taking more of a toll on my body. So part of that means eating vegetables, making sure I have the right amount of protein, fiber, whatever else. Anyway, this is a really nice campsite, some good riverside camping here. I'm out in Connecticut right now, and my goal is to hop a train through all the New England states while I still live in the Northeast. As far as jungles go, this is definitely one of the nicer ones I've been in. I brought a tent with me because I can't be on mosquito timing. Mosquitoes have been the bane of my existence with this hobby, so I have a whole ultralight tent now. Not trying to deal with Lyme disease either. I know ticks are super prevalent out here. Not a lot going on right now, but that's okay. Right now I think it's hiking time. I don't know what's up with this baby bird. Maybe a baby bird. He looks really scared and isn't getting out of the way. Oh, poor guy. And looks like I just stumbled upon some old structure. Let's try to figure out what it is. Yeah, just as I suspected, looks like a drainage ditch of some sort. Oh, okay, let's check it out. This is the real fun of train hopping adventures, not even the hopping part, but just looking around and exploring your environment, seeing what you find. From this vantage point, I can see everything that's going on, and what appears to be going on is not much. This is probably what hopping in Europe is like. You just post up for a whole day or two only to go 40 miles. And this is just a mountain of shards of glass, but it looks very pretty. So one last reason that people don't tend to ride around here is that a lot of tracks are poorly maintained, and so there's speed restrictions, so it almost isn't even worth it for you to just pace along at 10 miles an hour the whole time. At that point you're better off just biking. I just ran out the moment that I saw that there was a train parked facing in the direction that I want to go, which is north. Right now I'm riding this is all I really got as far as options. This is called contaminated soil. I don't know what it's contaminated with. Better not to think about it, probably. It's all I can really ride in right now, and hopefully this is what's going to leave and not this gravel train. The gravel train wouldn't even be rideable anyway because it's all empties, and they're probably going to the quarry if I had to guess. And I don't know why this garbage is steaming right now. Like, oh, it's almost been like freshly packed on, but something's gonna move at some point right now, and I'm really not sure what. This pile of garbage is quite warm. I can only imagine how much hotter it's gonna get. Yeah, my pants are absolutely gonna get ruined, and I'm gonna It doesn't smell, really. It's just basically like tire shavings and loose plastic and stuff. We'll see what happens. Okay, I realized trying to bag this train, I may have gotten a little ahead of myself because it doesn't have an EOT on it, so it's probably not going anywhere for a while. It's never great to miss a train or show like some sort of train hopping fail. Sometimes you gotta show the reality of the situation, and sometimes you think you got something and turns out you don't. What I'll be doing is every day rinsing off my face, my hands, and other parts that often need cleaning with baby wipes. And I intend to change my clothes every 2 days, which sometimes, you know, if you're out on the road, you'll be wearing the same clothes for like a week straight, which I'll probably do with my pants, but everything else I can't get away with that. I've got to feel clean at least. Alright, I'm gonna give it one more night to try to catch this train, and if it doesn't work out, then I'm just gonna grab commuter rail, because you have to think that at a certain point it's more of an expense to just stay in the same place, refuel on food, etc., rather than just buy the commuter rail ticket. Plus, I rolled in here Sunday night, and tomorrow is gonna be Wednesday. I don't want to be pushing 3 days waiting here. It'll already have been like 3 nights that I've been here. After many nights of being here, it sounds like my train has finally arrived. I've probably got an hour before it's made up. So right now I'm packing my stuff and hoping to get a decent ride. Train hopping in New England, man. This is really expert mode. This is really what tests you, separates the boys from the men. What's a tale of success without a couple failures along the way, huh? Got a nice little gondola ride. It's a short gondola too, so I can just climb up the steps here instead of having to surf trash all the way. It's gonna be subtle, it's gonna be covered, and yeah, should be just a couple short hours to the next city. We are rolling, it seems. Finally, dude, I really did not want to be camped out here for another night. And these streets in the suburbs are fucking quiet. Alright, it's getting chilly actually. I'm gonna have to get my jacket on in a sec. These gondolas, when you're inside them, are kind of ninja mode, because there's this little slit where you can see out, but no one can really see in. I have a friend who drove across the country, and he said that the whole thing was like watching everything pass by through a screen, which is an unfortunate feeling. And that is kind of the way I feel these days when I ride Amtrak or other commuter rail compared to a freight. It's just not quite the same to me. The nice thing about having a bike too, besides just getting around places faster, is let's say the train does decide to crap out on me, then I can just bike the rest of the way to the next city. The wind is really blowing in the back of this gondola, so I'm gonna go to the front end and just basically try to avoid getting pegged by the wind. Hartford, huh? Kind of a rough city. Looking to get out of here. There is something kind of surreal about hopping through a downtown environment, just because it's I don't know, so unusual I feel like to see a freight train out here. But realistically, a lot of cities are just built up railroads. That's the lifeblood of the city. Seems like we're still going, and beyond going, blasting through. I think they don't want to stop at this yard for the main reason that they're probably trying to avoid getting caught up with the commuter rail. So they're probably hauling ass to mass. Again, I do not mind at all. So they just had to drop me off at the Amtrak station. Not a great position to be in, but it's early enough that I think I can manage to get all my stuff and get out unscathed. I can bike away and be out in 5 minutes before anyone even has any idea what to do with me. So I think that's my strategy right now. I just had a pleasant conversation with a crackhead. Dude comes up to me on the other side of the bridge. He asked me something to the effect of, do I do drugs? And I tell him, no, I'm sober. And he's like, oh, all right. You gay, straight? And, you know, it's Pride Month, but it's not smoke dick for crack month. And then he asks again, are you really sober? Like, almost disappointed. He's like, oh, you're a train hopper. Well, trains come by here every 15 minutes. You're better off on the other side of the bridge, which, the first part is true. There's a lot of traffic. I don't know if I'm better off on this side of the bridge, but at least I'm away from them. And he did tell me himself, I don't want to disturb you. I came here to get high as fuck. I would have gotten you real high. In a way, it's kind of refreshing that there are still crackheads in the year of our Lord 2025, because fentanyl has been the flavor of the last couple of years, and it's cool to see someone still keeping it alive. I'm getting accosted by all these insects, and I'm hungry and I'm thirsty. The town is kind of dumpy, so I'm hoping to get out of here soon. Oh yeah, and dude was shocked how I had my bike with me. He's like, how you get the bike on the trains? Which I probably would have had the same question before I started doing this. But same way you get all your other stuff on, you just put it on. This is unbelievable. They're trying to out-Dominican each other with their speakers. It's so fucking loud. I'm trying to catch my train around. Hot tip is that it comes around that time. I also have been keeping a set of notes of every city I've gone through by train in the last 7 years. So it seems to align with my notes that it would come around that time. You see things like this and you're reminded that at some point the city must have been considered very beautiful and thriving. This is a hot train. It's not going to stop for very long. It's definitely hairy trying to catch it on the bridge over here, because there was another train going the other direction that I had to wait for, and I had my bike and backpack in tow, so I just had to drop them and then hide behind a bridge beam on the exterior of the walking path of the bridge so that I didn't get clipped, because I would hate to get dragged by my bag, so I'd rather just take it off, and then if it gets dragged, then that happens, but I'm not attached to it. Okay, it's entirely possible that my train just died in this intermodal terminal. This has been kind of a common theme, unfortunately, when I grab these intermodals. Sometimes is I'll hop on them and then they back up into the yard and just die there. You would think after 30,000 miles I have some idea what I'm doing. I didn't realize that this train... So we got dumped in the yard, and I didn't realize until I went to the front end to see what was going on and saw that the train didn't have an engine attached. So I went back to bed thinking I'm gonna set an alarm and try to catch the... Totally overslept that. And the last train that just came by was extremely short, maybe 15 cars long, didn't even stop. So I am probably a few hours from taking an Amtrak, because The heat is going to get unbearable soon. It's about to be 90 degrees, which in humid weather is really ass. Normally this is not a big deal because when I catch a freight train, I go about 600 miles or so. Here I'm barely going 60. Thank you. So all this time, what I thought was the train locomotive lights were actually these 4 Massachusetts motorbikers doing stunts out in the train yard. That's sick, dude. Highlight of my day. Anyway, I'm about a cat and mouse with these trains. I'm gonna find a little spot between 2 grainers to hide out, eat my sandwich, and just wait till the train rolls in. It's gray, it's vaguely rainy, the temperature's in the high 50s, low 60s. This weather in New England is looking like the weather in regular England. Now I wouldn't mind so much, except that this is the middle of June. Okay, I just went through a real bitch and a half, dodging train crew, yard crew, all kinds of different crews just to get on this train that I don't even know is going the right way. I'm going through a lot right now, by which I mean I'm literally in an abandoned lot. You can tell by some of the bricks here and what looks like building foundation that there probably used to be something here. So, big problem is that I just got kicked out of the train yard, so now the rail company and the local police know essentially what I look like, which is not good. Then again, earlier today I saw a guy walking the tracks with 2 dogs and a machete, so I'm probably not very high on their list of priorities of things to worry about. Okay, it's been many hours, still at the scrapyard, still very little happening in terms of trains. I mean, something did pull in, but it's just getting shuffled around. It's not like going anywhere, I'm pretty sure. So I'm just going to keep an eye out on what train action does happen, and also try to wait out the rain, because as you can see it's going to be raining. Okay, I managed to snag a ride on this extremely long train. I counted over 127 cars. Presumably it's going to Maine. And the reason I'm whispering is because there's an entire train engine over that way. Yeah, I'm riding with this blue container that's carrying trash. And when I walked by it, I thought, well, I don't smell the trash, so it seems like it should be all right. Really, really wide space, enough for me and my bike and probably another person and another dog and a trombone or whatever. Now that I'm in the well, I am starting to smell the trash a bit. Hopefully that dissipates, one with the moisture of the air, and 2 with the speed at which we're going. But stuck in this well, I am starting to smell it a little bit. Yeah, this is what the setup looks like now that the light from the yard is streaming in. Okay, once again, I've had the misfortune of siding out in some industry and don't know what to do about it. Fuck, I'm so tired, dude. Well, I spent all this time running up and down the side of the train, trying to find a suitable ride, even trying to justify some shitty rides. But in the end, the train has made that decision for me. Oh, and also, these things stink. These trash cars, absolutely disgusting. Anyway, this thing is going on without me, so I can try to keep pace, but there's really no point because there's nothing I can even ride here. All boxcars, all closed, all these container wells way too tall to justify throwing everything onto. So that's it. Unfortunately, there wasn't even really a rideable car on this train at the end of the day. This sucks, dude. I made it to the next town and that's it. Guess I'm gonna head back to where this train started. We didn't go that far, so I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. I gotta get out of these tracks before the morning commute starts with all the commuter rail and shit. Damn, this sucks, man. Yeah, I had a feeling that that blue car I was on was not gonna go farther. I just didn't know which cars were gonna get dumped and which would continue to keep going. But I literally combed the train from back to front, had all that time, couldn't find a ride. It is what it is. Maybe on another train there'll be a better set of cars, but it's not on this one. I at least knew to get off my train when it got dumped in the yard, so I've learned my lesson in that regard. But yeah, let me get the hell out of here. Alright, although I am having kind of a tricky morning, at least managed to set this tent up somewhat. As you can see, I didn't actually stake it where it's supposed to be, but I'm feeling lazy, so I'm just gonna dig the pegs into the ground and pray. Saves me 5 minutes, really. I'm gonna crawl in and go to bed, and hopefully by the afternoon there'll actually be some train action and I'll have a little better luck. Now I know better what I'm doing. Live and learn, man. Live and learn. I've only successfully caught one train so far. So all this cycling on ballast has given me a flat tube. Nothing that I can't repair. I guess this is my pressing issue of the day. I've really got nothing but time. Alright, I'm back in this small town yard in Massachusetts after 4 years. Last time I camped out here for 3 days, got destroyed by mosquitoes and didn't catch a single train. Walked all the way up and down the length of the yard just to find no trains going north where I wanted them to go. What makes this time different? Couldn't tell you. I'm willing to wait however long it takes. I'm about to get real comfortable with this town. It's a very peaceful spot, but it can drive you insane waiting in the same place for 3 days straight. So, we'll see how it goes. Here I was about to fall asleep, and wouldn't you know it, that might just be my train. Beautiful moonlit night through the trees. This would be an excellent ride. See, that's just the nature of luck. Sometimes you're camped out in the bush for 3 days, unable to catch anything. Sometimes you
head to the hop out and get your train really soon after settling down. I'm glad this time it was the second one.
Right as I was thinking, it's getting boring to travel alone. I just talked to a musician who has kids, and he said he would give anything to be able to travel and play music just like I've done in the past. Finally get to see what happens to all those containers. I've been passing by a lot of actual industrial terminal spots, so I can see how stuff operates over there, where all the boxcars end up, where all the grainers end up, where all the oil cars end up, and here where the containers actually end up. The weather right now is literally perfect, mid-70s, t-shirt, nice ocean breeze. Anyway, this is all part of my longer mission to hop through every state. I've got 43 down so far. I knocked out 4 new ones already on this trip, and I'm going for my last one in New England, Vermont, and then I can wrap up with the East Coast. People ask, do you get bored at the hop out? Right now I'm waiting on a train that isn't going to come for another few hours, and you know, I would say sometimes I get lonely, but not often bored. I read, I write. Sometimes I head into the yard and I can see the yard situation. I can mark cars. If I'm with someone, I can talk to them. Unfortunately, no one rides on the East Coast, so I haven't really been with anyone, but it smells like firewood, and it's a beautiful, warm night. Yeah, Maine's got a lot of lumber, so it smells nice and woody out here. I'm covered in mosquito spray, so they're not screwing with me. So everything's coming out good so far. Train yard is nearly dead. It's absolutely eerie to watch. And I'll just hang out until a train comes, I suppose. Luckily, I've already bushwhacked a lot of this, so it's gonna get a little easier each time. I'm in no particular rush because the head end of the train isn't even attached right now, so I'm gonna toss that over. Get my bag of snacks. I know, if I was any other train hopper, this would be alcohol or something. Sorry, sober. Gotta be sober around trains. Make sure no one's around. Okay, cool. Gotta wear gloves. It's a lot easier to not get this stuff on camera. And I'm usually in a rush, so I'm not filming it. There are some rides that you do have to pass up because, you know, having a bike in tow makes things more difficult for you, but I see it as, think of it like you're hopping with multiple other people or a dog or something, and not every ride's going to be suitable. So I did have to leave behind a double barrel shotgun grainer, which would have been a beautiful hidden ride to get me through the yard unseen. But this is the next best thing, I would say. And hopefully we should get moving quite about soon. Okay, given that we'll be going through a hot yard and the bike is very reflective with its metallic spokes and its white and silver wheels, I think it would, and its shiny red coat of paint, I think it would be better to throw a tarp over and just try to stay a little more low-key and in the shadow, because someone might see a bike and it's very obvious that it's a bike, but if someone sees a tarp, they probably won't blink twice. It is a nerve-wracking ride through this notorious yard. I'm praying that we blow through, but I feel like the train might get chopped up a little bit. I'll keep you updated on how it goes, but for now I gotta stay down. It's been a while since I've been nervous going through a yard. Okay, turns out I got on the wrong dang train last night. I mean, this train might continue and keep going where I want it to, but not for another couple hours. So I did manage to sleep here, which was fine. A yard is not a place that you want to linger because eventually someone will see you. So I'm going to try to get out as soon as possible, and then when my train is a few hours away from being called for, then I'm going to go back down, and I think I'll have to try to get it from the yard. There's no other way, unfortunately. I'm anxious to get out of here, and I've ended up at this crazy industrial park where they have these rails. They look more like I-beams for bridges, honestly, but it seems like a decent place to wait out and figure out what's going on with my train. As frustrating as it is to be stuck, you gotta be safe. So I think I'm gonna just post up in the yard, camp out, see how things are going, and try to get out of here. It sucks being stuck. It's happened many times before. Usually you're stuck in one place every couple of times, but in New England you get stuck multiple places time and time and time again. So I do not recommend riding once again out here.
After many hours, we're finally moving. Finally got a daytime ride too. There's not too much crazy scenery, it's just woods and suburbs for now. Some of it is decent enough, I guess. I can't sleep, so I might as well just keep an eye out and see. It's a little rainy, but luckily I got the clean face side of this ride.
I understand it's been raining, but this train has not been moving very far or very fast. We're sided out for, I don't know what number of times since we started moving. It doesn't matter to me because I was asleep for most of it, but we're barely in eastern Massachusetts and I've got to get to the other side of the state. You know, you think all these states are so small until you're crawling through them. And wouldn't be a problem, except I gotta just make sure I don't run out of food on the way. I think I'll be okay.
This scenery is probably incredible in the fall. Regardless, even if I don't find it that amazing right now, it is just good to be in motion. Especially after being still for so long. There's a metaphor in that.
Given how notoriously dead this yard is on weekends, I think I'm better off just taking transit all the way west and then riding my bike the 50 miles or so into Vermont. I genuinely think that'll be faster than waiting around. Alright, my plan is to bike to the next rail yard, camp out there, and then try to bike to Vermont in the morning as well. I don't think any trains go from the rail yard I'll be in to Vermont, so I just gotta bike the whole way. And it's gonna be Sunday, so little to no train action, not gonna be much going on. Sun is setting. I'm half expecting someone to come and run out and offer me an invitation into their house, but that's only happened to me in Oregon, of all places. So this is where I'm at. I think my tube has a slow leak too, so I'm making it all this distance with a damn near flat tire, basically. It's getting dark, but I'm not too worried. I'll be in town and civilization in 15 minutes, and people here seem to respect the rights of cyclists. It's actually a bigger deal than you might think. There are places where people don't give you that much space to pass, are actively hostile, and will do what's trucks do this thing, rolling coal, where they just dump all their garbage back at you. And I really don't understand the point of doing it to someone who has a bike. I don't know, people are just dumb and don't understand anyone who could possibly have a different lifestyle than them, I guess. There's probably no other reason that I would have ended up here in my life, and probably no reason I'll ever end up back. So the trains you can always ride and it's the same fixed route, but by bike you can go through some places that you would never even know existed. I'm sure even some people here are probably shocked that anyone knows that they exist, which I guess is the point of them living out here. I wonder what people do out here though. It's a Saturday night. I can't imagine the town is going to be that lively around 9 p.m. No idea what they're celebrating or doing. I mean, it is a cold night in June. It's like 50-ish degrees, so there's probably nothing to celebrate. Just go home and sleep. We're reaching right now, I don't know if the term is nautical twilight or something like that, but basically the sun's been down for a minute and the ambient light is all I have to go off of. The clouds certainly don't help, and as you can see, there's no light fixtures on the poles, so soon it's going to be pitch black if I don't get off this road quickly enough. So next town is going to be end of the line for me, which is fine. That's how I planned it out. Camp by the rail yard. Don't think anything's going to go on, but at least it's a comfortable place to be. Even if a town or a state sucks, I want to see it for myself. I think there's value in that. Even if you know something will suck beforehand, good to find out on your own rather than let someone else dictate your opinion about it. Then again, maybe there is some value in if I tell you hopping trains in the Northeast sucks, that you won't do it and you'll just believe me. Would I ever come back? I think so. Maybe in the fall, maybe some more remote rides where I can just plop out and bathe in the river and actually have someone to travel with rather than going alone. So that seems more like the vibe for me. Anyway, let me check my directions. Oh man, it is not going to be this good for a while. No cars around me. Don't have to worry about stopping or traffic or anything like that. Beautiful woods, beautiful wilderness all around. And I can just, I don't know, definitely feel at peace on one of these type of trails. I'm riding a road bike right now, which is a single speed. What that means is there's only one gear, unlike other bikes where you can switch to different gears for dealing with hills. There's only one. So the advantage is on flat ground. It's really nice and it's really simple, but when it comes to going uphill, it can be a bit of a bitch, to be honest with you. It has fewer parts and it's lighter, so that's the advantage to having a single speed. Just everything's easier to deal with. There's a whole meme about libertarians not wanting to have paved roads, and that shit is no joke, because the moment I get into New Hampshire, this is what the roads start looking like. I guess this is just the conditions we'll be dealing with today. It is kind of cool in like a charming, rugged, wilderness-ish sort of way, but man, it is nice to have pavement. Had to take a quick middle of nowhere detour. It really is all about the places where you stop. We got this nice stream going. I don't think I'm gonna bathe in it just because I'm only gonna get sweaty again, but I think I will wash my hands, wash my face. Looking real nice over here. Damn, it is really pretty out here. These truck signs, always a beautiful time. Means you got a nice long downhill. But I'll let the sign speak for itself. It says Trump on top, and then red and yellow, black, brown, white, all are precious in God's sight. Interesting. I've made it pretty far out. I'm gonna be in Vermont soon. It's beautiful out here. Probably just another hour, mostly downhill, following this river. It's gonna be a real good time. Still have a good amount of daylight left. Feels good. You ever wake up in the morning and think, screw it, I'm gonna ride my bike to Vermont? Anyway, I'm almost there. I can taste it across the river over there. Hell yeah. I get to watch the sunset, watch golden hour happen. This roadway is so thoroughly abandoned that you're not really going to have to deal with any other car. I love a little abandoned roadway like this. This is such a nice looking little town that I don't even want to go to the train yard yet and post up. I just want to bike around and see what's here. love seeing old train tags.
I was with my older boyfriend who was 16 years older than me. I was 27 and he was probably 42 or 43. We were on kind of like a relationship honeymoon. We were in Amsterdam, and we had been out at like the gay leather bars on the Vermont, which were really wild back then. And so we were walking home from the leather bars, from like the Eagle or one of those places. We're wearing leather, like leather pants, jackets, maybe cap even, like very leather guys. Some people pull up and they're like, hey, can we ask you something? And they were driving a Jeep, which was kind of weird, like a Jeep Cherokee, because you don't see the bigger vehicles in Amsterdam. He's like, hey, can I ask you something? And I'm just like, no, I have no patience for that shit. But my boyfriend was from the South, so he's like, oh, let's, see what they need help with. And so we go over and they're like, hey, like, what are you guys doing? You want to party? And I'm like, well, what do you mean party? And it's like, oh, like a sex party. And I'm like, yeah, all right, 200 euros for an hour or something. It's like, I knew what he wanted. And so he's like, yeah, all right. I was like, all right, well, do you have the money? Can I see? He like shows, got a bunch of cash. And he's got a lady in the seat. And I'm like, well, what about her? Because I knew my boyfriend was gay. And I didn't know how that was going to all work and stuff. And so I was like, well, what about her? And he's like, oh, she just wants to watch. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, well, we have an apartment right here. Like, you want to come up? And he's like, oh, I can't. Like, I'm invalid. He meant he's an invalid.
Yeah.
He had no feeling below his nipple, as it turns out. So I realized he had the controls on the steering wheel to drive because he couldn't push the wheel. So we go upstairs, change. We're doing this, make some money, and we went hop back in the Jeep. We get in. They're like, it was the whole thing was so Dutch. I don't know if they were Dutch, but they were like, you want a Heineken? Like, they're like doing poppers in the car, I think. And we go back to his place, and it was a really beautiful apartment. It was a beautiful flat, like glass walls and shit. And all four of us just like fucked it out. I was very proud of my gay boyfriend. He totally like got in with the girl and stuff, and like I was like, hell yeah, like cultural connector. It was blast. And then we went, we were there all night, and they were doing coke. I don't think we did any with them. We went afterwards to this like really fancy breakfast buffet. It was like gorgeous hotel from like the 1700s or some shit.
So I originally wasn't going to poke around trackside that much, but some guy who lives right by the railroad tracks told me to go check it out and see it for myself. So at that point I have to. This is way better than getting yelled at and chased off railroad property. Everyone here is so nice, it's been crazy. Not used to it, to be honest with you. I'm so glad I made it out here. It's beautiful here, man. The person I just talked to said the way that I look right now, they never would have clocked me for a train hopper, which is honestly perfect. I'd rather have people not know and just look as normie as possible, to be honest with you. Yeah, no trains on weekends here, so especially on a Sunday, so I'm not too worried about walking trackside like this right now. So the lesson here is always go to abandoned buildings, because you'll find not only the abandoned building itself, but the kinds of people who are attracted to them. Right now I think they're looking for people sleeping under the bridge. Well, this is it. Definitely woke me up, as I thought. Let's try to find a suitable ride and get out of here. Yeah, unfortunately any of the safe rides are pretty close to the head end. I do have the advantage of the morning fog, but even if I got on 100%, they would see me. So I have to either see if the crew leaves, which is my chance, or I don't know, might even have to let it go, which would suck, but might be necessary. Wish it was a little darker. Unfortunately, this is what you get for hopping in the summertime, like the longest days of the year. Okay, so we're finally moving after a couple hours. I underestimated how dusty of a ride this was going to be, because bunch of boulders get loaded into this gondola. Never seen a gondola with this shape before with these sides, but should be an interesting ride. And officially have now crossed train hopping in Vermont off of my list, and I've done all the New England states. I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to do it, but here we are 2 weeks later. Anyway, I'm starting to appreciate a good gondola ride. Although you are more exposed to the elements, it is a great way to bring a lot of stuff onto your car, and it is pretty hidden. So I'm in a bit of a predicament. We were chilling in the yard for 2.5 hours, then they built the train for 2.5 hours, and because they were building the train, they shuffled around a lot of cars, and look where my car ended up. I mean, there's a couple other locomotives in front, but I am probably a couple hundred feet back from the conductor, if that. I thought 10 cars back was pushing it, but now I'm like right here. And the tough thing is I can't really look out at the scenery. I mean, I was already gonna have to stay down, but yeah, now I really gotta stay down till Massachusetts, pretty much. But it seems like we're rolling, and I can look out this little niche here and just see what's up ahead. So I guess this is how I'm viewing the world, through this little slit. I guess it could be worse. Nice view. And yeah, the one thing I forgot about gondolas is the sun will just like beam down on you. So I lost my hat. I don't really have anything to cover myself with. So in the course of a very short amount of time, I went from freezing cold to, I'm sure it's going to be boiling hot pretty soon. But luckily it's a short ride. Gonna slap some sunscreen on and pray for the best.
Literally the last of my food. I mean, it's fine. It's a 50-mile ride. I'll get off and have some nice diner breakfast when I'm done with all this.
Okay, it turns out they took out my empty rock hopper car, and I had to switch cars. Hopefully that's the only one that they take out, because that one's going to industry, and then the rest of this is going to continue to mass.
We're cracking on, going southbound. Feels way better to be farther away from the lead unit, have a better ride in the shade. Riding dirty face so I get the wind on me. The one situation where I would recommend riding dirty face is for these really hot days. And I got this big bumper car in front of me blocking the sun, so that's really nice. Seems like this is going to continue on. I realized that the car I was in was, I mean, you see those stones there? I'm pretty sure that's where they drop off the stone cars and stuff by there. That's the exact car I was on. And just local industry bullshit, I realized. So I had to bail, get another ride. That's how it goes sometimes. You know, you think you know things about trains, and then you realize, well, you might know where a crew changes, or where it stops, or how to get on the train when it's built. But this whole experience of me being on trains as they're built in the yard has really been a forged in fire situation. I've learned so much, even though I have had a lot of setbacks. I think it was worth it just for how much I learned. Oh, and big shout out to any rail workers who may or may not have helped on this trip. There's kind of a tacit understanding with most railroad employees that the giant corporation they work for is screwing them over. If someone can get one over on them by riding their trains and getting a free ride, sometimes they like that. It's kind of a big fuck you to the company. Oh, and to all the people who have said, why don't you take public transit? I think you're forgetting that this is America. There is no public transit in between a lot of places. And if there is, sometimes these trains, I'm talking public, like Amtrak and stuff, run every other day, if that. So sometimes this is just what you gotta do. In a lot of places, freight train is legitimately the only way around. I've had a lot of setbacks on this trip, but I'm very happy to have this ride. You know, sometimes the scenery rolls by a little too quickly for you to appreciate it, but I actually don't mind a slow ride like this because you get to sort of take everything in instead of just blasting by like on so many other trains. It's really pretty out here. All said and done, I think I only rode just over 400 miles on this trip in about 2 weeks, which is really not a lot. I've had a period of 6 days where I've gone close to 4,000 miles, so consider that. But you know what? There's really no rush.
All right, I'm back in Springfield, Mass. Our train sided out somewhere 15 to 20 miles outside of the city, and then I decided I'm just gonna bike the rest of the way. I know I was talking some shit on Springfield earlier, but I'm actually coming around to it now that I've biked a little bit more, seen the city a little more. There's actually some cool stuff, and the more of it I see, the less of it I think is dumpy. You know, Springfield has its problems, but they're trying. It's not like Worcester. That's a place where every time I go there, I kind of like it less and less. But Springfield, it's kind of nice. Here, come this way. I'll show you around.